Okay, these are my stats, and this is everything I used in the beginning and what I switched to later on. And I just want to say that I did some testing, very limited testing, with a high faith build. And I think that if you were trying to get as much damage out of these, any incantation really, your best bet would probably just be to go for a high faith build, probably 60 or 80 faith, and using one of the any of the seals that have S in faith scaling, and then having any of the incantations that increase, or any of the seals, I mean, that increase whatever incantations set that you're using on your offhand. Because I was trying it with Beast Sling, and I found that I was doing a 40 strength and 60 faith split, and the Erd Tree Seal, I think it is, had like 300 something incantation scaling, and Beast Sling had like 290. So it was definitely just more damaging to just use that, and then have the claw mark talus seal in the offhand. It just did more damage that way. So, and I'm just gonna assume that that's how it would be for the other spells as well. So, but I don't really care about all that. I just try to do what I can with, very limited things. I'm trying to see if it would be good to have both of the incantation, both of these seals that increase an incantation of a certain type, but it doesn't, because you can just get better scaling with, any of the S faith seals. So, but it was worth trying out, seeing, and I keep doing it because once again I just want to see if you're taking such a massive hit to damage or not, and you probably are, to be honest. But it's always worth trying, seeing new things, But I really do wish that the buff that they gave to the incantations was better. So that way it would make up for the poor scaling in comparison to some of the other two, Because once again, the buffs stack with each other. So if you're using two of the Giant's Flame Seals, if you're using two of those, the effect is increased if you're using two of them instead of the one. But that doesn't really matter if if using two of those isn't efficient as using one with better scaling, So doesn't matter all that much in the long run. So it's always just good to know that kind of thing. And you could probably allocate your stat points differently and make a better build than me, but I'm not all too concerned about min-maxing and that kind of thing. So if you really want min-max builds, go to Scott Yund. He knows what he's talking about. I don't. He's played these games way more than I have, so. But I just try to have fun with doing random, weird, quirky things. So, And for the most part, I had fun. I'm gonna run through each of these spells and kind of give my thoughts on them. Black Flame, it's the Fireball spell. Fireballs can be good, but you just need to free aim them, so you need to be really good at that. But it's worth it because it does good damage. So, and all of these spells have the burn effect on them, so that's always nice. That's pretty much all I gotta say about Black Flame, though. Just a fireball, does good damage. You need to free aim it. You're not gonna hit anyone otherwise, unless they're stuck in an animation or not paying attention. But that's about it. Scouring Flame, it's pretty good. It's got long range, and it has a decent enough spread. My only problem with it is that the spread up close isn't really good, and you can't really free aim it all that well. Mainly because it's kind of this way for other incantations, but I found it more annoying with this incantation in particular, where you're casting it, and if you're holding it, you can kind of move around freely until a certain point, and then you're stuck in, which is fine. That's usually how it works. But the problem is that the spread of the spell up close is very little, because it comes out in like a cone in front of you, so it's really narrow when it's leaving your hands, but it spreads out really wide far away from you, so it's not really up close kind of a spell. And also you can jump over it as well. I've got numerous people doing that, so that can be kind of annoying. You can free aim it up, but I wasn't able to hit anybody like that, so you probably can though, so it's probably a good way to prevent people from just jumping over it at you and hitting you. So that's the thing. You can't free aim it down because it just goes into the floor and stops. So you can free aim Flame of Frenzy that way though. Aim down, it'll kind of just, all the flames will just land in a pretty decent enough spread around you. But Black Flame just goes straight into the floor and doesn't do anything. So I forget the name. It's the one that puts a circle around you. That one. That's pretty good. It's a kind of a keep out kind of thing. People can roll through it pretty easily, but it kind of obscures vision, and people who are passive aren't just going to rush in, so it kind of will give you time to go through your spells, cast them from relative safety, or use a flask. So it has its uses, but it's not really a good damaging spell, but it's good utility kind of a spell. In PvE, it could be a good damaging spell, but in PvP, most people aren't just gonna stand at the edge of a circle and take a lot of damage, But that's about it for that one. The last one is Noble's Presence. Now, I went into this build thinking that I wasn't going to use that at all, but surprisingly, I used it a fair amount. It's a really fun spell. It's not that great, but it is really funny when you land it, though. And if you manage to land a charged hit, they'll go like flying backwards. So, or if they're in the air from an incantation cast, it'll knock them up into the air as well. So that happened once. So it comes out surprisingly quick. The uncharged version does anyway. And it's really good against people who are using straight swords or curved swords, and they'll dual wielding, because you know they'll just run at you in L1, and so if you outspace them, you know they're just gonna run in and do another L1 if you're just outside of range, and so you can start casting it as soon as they whiff, and then they'll run in trying to interrupt your cast, and then they'll get hit by it. So you can use it that way as well. So it's pretty effective that way, but it doesn't have that good a range, so you really do need them to be running at you. You're not going to run up to someone, you know, cast it, and then have them get hit by it. So, but there are definitely ways to use it. But I think that's about it. Everything I wanted to say about the spells. But I will say this build wasn't as fun for me as the fundamentalist spells. Sorry, stuttering. But yeah, definitely wasn't as fun. I don't know if it's just because I'm not good with them, or if because I had a lot of laggy matches. But it's probably just a mixture of both of those things. When I first recorded this, I really did not consider using it again. I would say I had fun, but I had fun in very few matches. So that initially made me not want to use it again, but on further reflection, I think it's definitely worth giving it another shot. And trying to actually improve with the incantations, because that's one of the problems. You know, I'm not good, and I'm not trying to devote a large amount of time into trying obscure things, mainly because, you know, losing isn't all that fun, you know, so, and that's what I do a lot. I lose a lot, so I can only stomach using these obscure things for, you know, a certain amount of time, usually an hour or so, until I get just completely annoyed and want to stop playing. So, but I'll definitely think about trying this again sometime. The only problem is I tried, you know, rewriting my save files, but I messed up, and so now I am out of larval tears, and I would have to go farm upgrade materials and that kind of thing, so I don't really want to do that. I've already changed builds, you know, plenty of times, so I'll probably end up having to make a new character and, you know, do all this stuff again. And I want to do that anyways, because my first playthrough with this character, I missed out on 2 of these seals that I wanted to try using 2 of. I missed out on the Dragon Cult seal and the Giant's Flame seal. My first playthrough with this character, I just forgot. And also, I missed out on some incantations as well. So I don't really want to do that on New Game Plus, because then I'll have to just go into New Game Plus 3 anyways to get the second second seals. So I would just rather start a new character. But yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about the buff. I will say the buff doesn't last that long at all, but if you're using it on a really strong weapon, I can see it being really good, because it has a really fast cast time, and also it looks really cool as well, so that's just get a nice style bonus with that. I really like the cast animation for the buff, and I like the cast animation for Scouring Black Flame too, but my only problem with that is the width of the spell up close. It doesn't have that much, it doesn't spread out that far up close, so that's my only problem with it, but other than that, it's fine. The circle one is pretty cool too. Frickin' Noble's Presence is probably one of the funnier looking spells. I can't really think of another one that's as funny. You know what I really want? I really want them to add an incantation where you just turn into you know how the Godskin Noble will, like, you know, become fat and start rolling around on his side? I want them to add, like, an incantation that lets you do that. I think that would be pretty funny. Just rolling around sideways, you know, in a circle around people. Even if it completely just sucked, I'd still like to have that. That's pretty funny. But, yep. I think that's basically all I've got to say, really.